Hello everyone, and welcome to another video in the Beyond Docker Podman, Buildah, and Scopio course. In the previous video, we were looking at containerizing a Hello World application. If you're just now joining us, let's look at what this Hello World application does. In this project, I have a hello-world.go file, and that displays Hello World to the screen when the application is run. We also wrote a Docker file that is used to containerize this application, and what that's doing is it's using the golang container, it's building the application, and when we run the container it runs the hello world binary that we produced, and that outputs hello world to the screen. If we look at the size of the image that we produced in the last video, we see that the size of the container that we produced is 826 megs. And our goal for this video is to look at a way that we can reduce the size of that container. The key observation that we need to have when it comes to this is that the golang container that we're using has a lot of things in it that our Hello World application doesn't need. The golang container that we're using to do our build has the whole golang software development kit inside of it, and that has a bunch of libraries and executables that we don't need to run our Hello World application. And what we're going to do is look at a feature of both Docker and Podman called a multi-stage build that will allow us to simplify and reduce the size of this container. And the key observation there is that what we're going to do is we're actually going to use one stage to build our application using the golang software development kit container, and then we're going to use another stage to start from a smaller container image, and then we're going to take that smaller container image, add our executable to it, and we'll be left with a container that just has what we need to run our Hello World application. And this is sort of a principle when we're building containers, that we want to build as small of a container as possible. We want to have the minimum dependencies in that container, because that will make the container smaller, it will make it start quicker, it will reduce the number of vulnerabilities that that container can have, and will also mean that if we're running in a cloud environment, that container will take less resources in terms of storage and compute potentially as well to run. So let's look at how we can do a multi-stage build. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open our Docker file in Visual Studio Code. And we're going to look at our from line here where we're defining that we want to start from this golang container. And we're going to define that as our build environment. And we're going to use the syntax in the Docker file saying as build-environment. And that declares that this stage is going to be our build environment. And basically when we say we're going to do a multi-stage build, that means that we're going to have multiple from lines. We're going to start from multiple different containers, and there's a way that we can actually copy from one of these stages to the other stage. So we're going to declare this stage as the build environment, and then we're going to come down here and we're going to say we're going to define another stage, and we're going to say from alpine latest, and we're going to say copy from build environment. So we're going to copy something from the build environment, and let's go ahead and change this working directory to source just so we don't get confused between our different stages. We're going to declare this as source. We're going to copy our hello world.go to our source working directory, and then when we do our copy command, we're going to say copy from /source /hello-world, and we're going to copy it into our app Hello World like this, and we're going to say work directory is app. So let's give that a shot and see what happens. We're going to go over here to our terminal, and we're going to do a podman build command, and we're going to give it a tag of localhost /hello world-go, which is what we have here, and we're going to rebuild that container. So we see in our stages that it's going to do a from golang latest. It's going to pull down that. It says as build environment. It's then going to It's going to build our Hello World application. Then it's going to pull down the Alpine latest container, which I've already done. Or well, it might actually need to be done for this particular video. Just going to commit that stage. It's going to pull down the Alpine latest. It's going to then copy from our build environment to the app folder, and then if we do a Podman images command, we can see that now our container image that we built is 8 megs. So the next step is just to see if this will run. So let's do a podman run localhost /hello world-go, and we see that it prints hello world. So what we've done is, using a multi-stage podman build, we've actually reduced the size of our container from 826 megs to 8 megs. And you can see that's quite a large reduction, and we used a feature of both Docker and Podman called a multi-stage build in order to do that. And just one more time, what we did is we defined a stage that we called our build environment. We built our application using that stage. Then we defined another stage where we said from Alpine latest. So we basically started from a much smaller container image. We copied the Hello World executable that we built from that stage to the new container that we built, and then we committed that container. So really we're taking a much smaller container, this Alpine Linux container, copying this one executable that we built from the previous stage into it, and then committing the container from that. And that's what allowed us to create a smaller container image. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you like what I'm doing here and you want me to continue to make more videos, please like and subscribe. It means a lot to this channel if we get more subscribers. It helps me to know that people are interested in what I'm creating. It also helps me to be motivated to make additional content for y'all. So I'll see you in the next video.